What do you get when you combine Sonic the Hedgehog, edginess, and murder? Well, you get Shadow the Hedgehog, but what if you add demons to the mix? Sonic.exe is currently an interesting phenomenon, isn't it? For those of you who live under a rock, I'll give you a brief summary of the Sonic.exe story. Sonic.exe is a creepypasta written by JC the Hyena, and that's the only thing of note that I'm going to talk about with that guy. Sonic.exe sees a boy named Tom who is a big Sonic fan. One day he looks in his mailbox to find a disc labeled Sonic.exe, along with a note from his friend. The note tells him to just destroy the disc because for some reason Kyle can't snap a disc in half. Kyle instructs Tom not to play the game because it's what it wants. So of course the first thing Tom does is play the game. Within the game, Tom witnesses the murder of Tails, then Knuckles, then Eggman, until finally Tom turns around to see a Sonic.exe plush doll that kills him? Now, if that isn't the scariest story ever told, I don't know what is. Oh, and there's also a sequel that no one read either. This story spawned its own fan games, spin-offs, and fan animations, but they mostly kept to the same formula. Tails dies, Knuckles dies, Eggman dies, there's jump scares, he's a god, spooky game done. After a few years, Sonic.exe was lost to obscurity. This was until recently when a Sonic.exe Friday Night Funkin' mod was created and revitalized the popularity of the whole story. Now there's a new boom of Sonic.exe games, and I must ask, are these games still just boring? Walk to the right, jump scare fests, or did Sonic.exe games improve over time? I chose 5 random Sonic.exe fan games to see what they offered. So I was reluctant to include this one in this video since this game doesn't contain Sonic.exe or any variant of him whatsoever. The reason I'm including it anyway is just that it's just so weird. So the basic gameplay is just playing through Green Hill Zone. The gameplay feels nice, it doesn't feel amateurish. As a remake of Green Hill Zone, it's pretty damn good. When you beat Act 3, you are prompted to look for secrets. Looking around the stage, I found an item box that was very peculiar. It showed a picture of an eye. This is when I was like, well, here's where the EXE starts. I got a message stating that I can now see everything, and everything in the game started to look very weird at this point. Enemies looking like mindless puppets, everything being dark, this fucking face that scared the shit out of me. When you get towards the end of the stage, it starts glitching out like mad. Ooh boy, the EXE stuff is starting. Let's see what horrors await. What is this? A high school short film? Surely this can't go on for too long, right? Nah, no way. It just goes on for another 40 minutes? Wow, I downloaded a Sonic fan game and got tricked into watching someone's high school short film. From what I could gather of the film, because sometimes they are a bit hard to understand, but also I stopped paying attention for some of it, the story is as follows. A teenage girl lives in a psychiatric hospital but won't admit that she's crazy. She seems to hallucinate these puppet master beings that go hee hee hee, and they are trying to get her to succumb to her madness. We also meet a bunch of other mentally unwell people, and the way that they seem to portray this is that they just have interests. Like, one girl is just a Naruto cosplayer. So throughout this movie, stuff happens. I'm not really sure. I was kind of checking out at this point, so let's just skip to the end. The main girl agrees to let herself be overtaken by the puppet master and give in to her madness, which somehow cures all of the others of their mental illness, so she's left dead or something. That's it. That's the film. I thought maybe after all this the game would go back to some Sonic.exe stuff, but no. After the film is done, it just says, you may leave now. I guess I have to give them props for marketing. I would have never seen their short film if it wasn't in this pseudo-Sonic horror game. Good on them. Hope they really own their craft. When I open Project X, it greets me with this screen of Sonic looking away from the camera, asking me if I'm sure I want to play this game, and if I'm ready to pay the price. Clearly having no self-preservation skills, I allow myself to enter the experience. I get a title screen of Sonic, and right off the bat, this pixel art looks amazing. Oh, hi Sonic. Thanks for screaming at me. We start out as Tails in Green Hill Zone going through the motions. We reach the end of the stage and we see Sonic. Tails reaches out to him and walks over, only for Sonic not to look right when he opens his eyes. That's when everything turns dark and there are mutilated and eviscerated bodies everywhere. Depending on what I did with Tails depended on what happened. Getting to the end of this tunnel takes me to a place where I cannot escape. Slowly, a giant Knuckles monster starts closing in on Tails. When he reached him, he devoured him whole. If I leave the beginning of Green Hill Zone and then come back, Sonic will destroy the ground, transporting Tails to Lava Reef. Here you can see Sonic throwing Tails into the lava. If you collect every red ring and then go back to the beginning, Tails will teleport to Scrap Brain Zone where he tries to warn Knuckles of what Sonic has been doing, but Sonic makes sure to shut him up forever. I can't even imagine what other ways Sonic can kill Tails in this game. The most spooky of all, though, was what seems to be the ending. After Tails goes through the shift, if he collects all of the red rings and then gets to the end of the stage again, Tails will find a giant ring. Going through it teleports Tails to Angel Island. Running through Angel Island, Sonic appears, except it's not Sonic. It's Lord X. Lord X kills Tails as he does in Sonic PC port, screams at us in the Mr. Beast pose, and then does the spookiest thing imaginable. He changed my desktop, causing me to search for a whole new desktop picture to replace it. Fuck! So Project X is your typical EXE game that you would experience in the past. You play the game a bit, a scary thing happens, you do things, jump scares, the end. The thing that I think really sets Project X apart from the EXE games of the past is definitely the pixel art. The pixel art in this game is amazing. I am a sucker for overly detailed, horrifying art like this. It's why I love Junji Ito, it's why I love Lumpy Touch. I love this type of art. The death scenes are brutal. The demon designs are great. I'm excited to see what this game is capable of in the future, and breaking the fourth wall to change my desktop background is something I always love. Taking place in an alternate timeline to the main Sonic canon, sometime after the events of Sonic Adventure, Eggman started experimenting with creating a perfect clone of Sonic, not by creating a robot version, but instead by creating an organic double. This goes completely wrong when these clones start turning into monsters. This game shows Sonic and Mecha Sonic Mark II dealing with the threat. I got about 3 levels into this game, but then I went through a wall and game overed. This made me have to start the entire game over again. A bit harsh. I was willing because the game itself was alright, a little clunky, but not too bad. I guess Sonic.exe got his clutches on my game though, because it turned everything dark, only giving glances of light whenever I would pause, but then it would just fade out. I beat a whole level like this, so yay me? Yeah, not even restarting the game fixed this, so guess I'm done? From what I played of this game, it was actually pretty good. I like the concept of having a story centered around Sonic and Mecha Sonic Mark II having to work together to fight these demonic clones. It seems close to what a canon Sonic.exe Sonic game would be like, just subtract some of the gore stuff. With that being said, it does have some of that fan game jank. Some of the slopes act pretty weird, and this weird fade out glitch really ruined my experience. Not the worst game in the world, but definitely needs a few more bug tests. So, I downloaded this game, and right off the bat, I'm impressed. In the game folder, not only are there files that are hidden away behind a password, but there is also a manual you can read that definitely had a lot of effort put into it and really gets you in the mood for the experience you are about to get into. So we start out as Sonic running through a forest town. After a bit of exploring, we run into a bomb set by Robotnik. Sonic gets up from the blast and suddenly his surroundings are foggy. After passing many bloody animal carcasses, we get screamed at so loud that I literally threw my headphones in pain. At that point, we see a cutscene where Sonic is taken to a lab. We hear a conversation between Robotnik and one of his badniks saying how there is an anomaly in whatever they're working on and that the program data doesn't match what they've been doing. Robotnik tells the robot that he'll look into it, and this is when we regain control of Sonic. When we finish this laboratory stage, we find out that this isn't Sonic at all. This is Afflicted.Me, our main antagonist of our story. We are alerted to this when Afflicted.Me walks up to a Flicky and his face distorts, crashing our game. Looking at our desktop, we see that it's changed to a picture of Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Eggman on a blank background. I apologize that it's hard to see due to my blurring of my files, can't let you in on all my secrets. Opening the game back up, we now play as Tails. Tails leaves his house and sees that the town, which was inhabited before, is now abandoned. As he runs, he gets caught by Afflicted.me, who transports him to a dark lava reef zone, where we see the same dismembered animal carcasses. After running for a bit, we are given the choice for Tails to go ahead or to turn back. I ain't no sissy, so I went forward. Tails shakes in fear, and the next we see him, he's getting eaten by Afflicted.me. We then get a nice goofy close-up of this cutie. Ooh, I could just kiss him. And he says, "Is this what you wanted, oh, hey, wait a minute. Get my name off the screen, you creep." An error message stating "help me" pops up as I get yet another heart attack, crashing the game once again. Reopening it again sees us playing as Knuckles this time in Hydrosity Zone. You heard me. Knuckles comes across a future sign that he uses to time travel to the future. Man, future sucks. Knuckles meets up with Afflicted.me, but before he has any chance of fighting him, he gets sliced in half by a saw blade. Afflicted.me laughs at his misery and decides that closing and reopening the game takes too long and just sends us to the next character. Now we're playing as Ray the Flying Squirrel. Oh no, he's so scared he's doing the Sonic Fangame jig. After scuttling for a long time, Ray comes up on what seems to be Sonic and follows him. After a bit, it seems he gets trapped in a pit with Mighty. Mighty and Ray try to find a way out. As Mighty is unlocking an exit, Ray goes to see if he can find another one. Ray does eventually find an exit as Mighty opens his. He immediately gets chased by Afflicted.me and must endure the jankiest wall jumping mechanic ever to escape from him. Just kidding, he gets caught anyway and glitches out of existence. Back to Ray, we're back in the winter wonderland we were in before, except with more bodies. When Ray comes upon Mighty's decapitated head, he himself gets hanged from a tree. Afflicted.me tells us he will find me, kill me, and cut my throat, whatever that is. Afflicted.me decides to give us one more character to play as so we can entertain him. Now we are playing as Metal Sonic in Dismembered Face Zone? We come upon all of the characters Afflicted.me has killed so far, and then come upon Afflicted.me, who has met the same fate. We see the remains of Afflicted.me walking decapitated, only to be met by another demonic character, now looking like Tails. This entity calls Afflicted.me useless and asks us if we want to become a part of their family. If we do, we have 2 more souls to purish. If we do this, then their god will return. Whatever that means. Considering I have no real stake in this at all, I decide to continue. First, we take control of Amy. After getting screamed at and having more troponin released into my heart, we get a message that reads as follows. "I found a way to free all of us. It is a spell that only the devil can pronounce. His words are freedom of our problems. May our soul be freed from this hell. He is not going to let us go away from the torture. I can hear the souls of the innocent screaming in pain while the flames of hell burns our skins." Now you'll have to forgive me if this part is inaccurate, because this part of the message is translated by Google Translate. Sanguinis, benedicto, libertas, genocidi. May the devil free us from this hell. As the Holy Spirit descended upon the apostles, so may the tears of blood shed by the dead come upon us. May God help us. Going out of the game sends me to a YouTube video called Grand Finale. It shows us a picture of a guy with his eyes blocked out talking about standing over a dead body and draining their blood. Then we get some gameplay from the game we just played, followed by a decapitated Tails. Going back to the game, we see this picture of Eggman talking about how we destroyed his creation. Looking at our desktop shows a picture of Afflicted.me in a position that makes it look like he's being hanged. Reopening the game sends us to a special stage type mission with Sonic, collecting rings in the forest. We are then instructed to find a file called save.ini and change a number value. The game closes and a file is created simply called Goodbye My Friend. After spending way too much time trying to find this file, I change the value and open the game back up. We are prompted to take note of a password, and then we are told we are being put in a simulation. We are now in Death Egg Zone as Sonic. We then fight this fucking thing? After defeating whatever that was, Eggman, or whatever this Eggman lookalike may be, gives us a choice to either free the other's souls or to save ourselves. Being the absolute Chad hero I am, I chose to save the others, restoring my desktop picture back to the Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Eggman in the Void type deal. Reopening the game one last time reveals that the Eggman entity was actually what remained of Afflicted.me, or as he is also known, Melvin. Melvin reveals that he was murdered when he was 14 by his brother Ryan when he was invited to hang out with his friends. He then instructs us to delete the save.ini file to repeat the cycle once again. What's interesting is that after I was done playing the game, I noticed there was a paper in my printer. The paper read as follows: 1 parenthesis underscore follow the number underscore 2 underscore first, comma Sonic, comma before bridge, comma first level underscore parenthesis. I have not deciphered what this hint means or where it leads, but that is where I will leave you guys for now. If you know what this leads to, let me know in the comments below. This was quite the experience, having the game change my desktop background multiple times, open up YouTube videos, create files, require me to change files to progress in the game, and even printing out text to give me a hint is all stuff that I find incredible. If there is one thing I love about these EXE experiences is when it really fucks with my computer without being harmful. It really immerses me in the situation that the game dev wants to create. Just like with the other EXE games, this one also has great pixel art to really sell the demonic entities. The problem that I have with this game lies in its story. It started out promising. One of Eggman's creations was infected by an anomaly that sent it on a murderous rampage. This anomaly also gave the creature cosmic awareness, having it know that it's in a game and can fuck with even the player. Where it starts to fall off for me is when Afflicted.me gets killed and taken over by the Tails demon. Then after that we fight the severed head thing. It's all very confusing. Like, who is this other entity? What did the video have to do with the story? What did Melvin getting murdered by his brother have to do with anything? The story kinda loses focus and tries to do too many things at once, and it gets a little lost on the player. Not bad by any means, but could use a little work. Opening the game, we start with a poem. There was a deprived hedgehog, and he crawled a deprived mile. He found a deprived acorn upon a deprived stile. He befriended a deprived bird, which caught a deprived worm, and they all lived together in a little deprived fern. After that lovely poetry reading, we find ourselves running as Sonic, but he has blacked out eyes. We happen upon a Chaos Emerald and get the lovely request to help the demon kill his friends. We then get to see this little cutie that's so cute in fact that my printer printed out a picture of him. We get told that this is the demon's servant. The game closes and then opens my web browser to try and access my webcam. It then opens a bunch of Google Translate pages to send us a message. Let me see you. If I don't, I will try to come to you. If I do, the fate is the same. The cutie pops back up on my screen and asks if I'm back. We get another message. I have 3, you have 1. Collect the other 3 for me. Collect the emerald, kill the acorn. That is our mission. First up is Knuckles. We start running through the dark, splotchy Green Hill Zone where we start to get some backstory on stuff. It seems to be a conversation of someone begging a doctor to save their mother. After getting the Chaos Emerald, we get called a thief. That's no fair, you told me to get it. We then arrive at Metallic Madness Zone, and the game starts freaking out, telling us that our fate is sealed and yada yada yada, etc, etc, etc. After a bit of climbing, we get told that we die now. Knuckles gets trapped in a box, and then the game crashes with an error message that says, I hand. At this point, my entire computer crashed and I had to start the game over again. I don't think that was part of the spooky game. I think my computer just decided to die. Or maybe that's me shrugging it off as a glitch and moving on. After playing a spooky noise over my speakers, we get to see what Sonic did to Knuckles, and needless to say, he looks a little distressed. He then bashes it against my screen and makes an icky little mess, ew. Once again, closing the game, we get a pop-up of a medical page on lung cancer. Our narrator basks in the death of the acorn and now says that the bird is next. Enter Tails. After running through Chemical Plant with Tails for a bit, we get a message saying that this person stabbed their mom. God, I hate when lung cancer makes me do that. We get another message. How many remain? Back in the game, Tails is already bored of this horror shit. After more stage, we see that the demon doesn't feel guilty, and then we get a picture of
the Chaos Emeralds.
Back in the game, Tails is once again yawning. Bro, take a nap. We finally find the next Chaos Emerald and get called a thief once again. Do you want me to get him or not? We get transported to another dark box with words overlaid on us. More poems. In shadows, the bird, deprived and frail, fights for life with a weakened whale. Yet fate aligns with a cruel skill, the deprived hedgehog's friend, its next kill. We then see Sonic cleave Tails with an axe like a Looney Tunes character. We get to see his dirty work for a bit, and then we're told that our fun will come to an end soon and that all we have left is to murder the worm. Fade in, Amy Rose in Sandopolis, the spookiest of classic Sonic zones. It's 'cause I hate it. As we venture forth, we seem to get more backstory. Apparently, whoever killed their mom was actually possessed. Then we are shown the dictionary definition of guess. No, I'm not telling you to guess, like literally the word. Back in the game, Amy is swaying all cute. Have I ever expressed how much I like Amy Rose? We collect our third Chaos Emerald and get called mean names again. The game tells us we are going to die in the shadows as the game closes, opens up the Game Jolt page for this game, nice self-promotion there, demon, and repeats the word shadows over my speakers even without the game running. Back in the game, we're back as Amy in Sandopolis again. We are then given 3 names: Kenton Aster, Taylor Bark, and Amy Walker. Oopsie doopsie, we're trapped in a box again! After Amy gets Serpelloed out of existence, we're told our job is finished. We are then commanded to meet the master we've been serving this whole time. Back as the Demon Sonic, we run backwards. We then see Demon Sonic kill the cutie. The Demon Sonic then tells us his final confession. Using the 7 Chaos Emeralds, he was able to get out, get into some boy's body, and kill his mother while in there. So I guess the 7 Chaos Emeralds gives this demon the power of possession of a real-world person? Sure. This window stays open small, and it just has the text, "Junio is mine," as a YouTube video pops up. In the video, we hear the voice of John, a man who was the original lead designer of Sonic 3 back in 1994. He was fired for stealing their assets. In reality, he used those assets to create something new, but then it became a monster. He put the monster on a spare Sega hard drive and smashed it to smithereens. He says this monster has the power to possess someone, and if it does, that person is lost forever. If this demon gets out, humanity has no hope. Oops. We are then shown the significance of all of the analogies throughout the game. Knuckles being the acorn, creating the letters K.A., the initials for Kenton Aster, Tails being the bird, creating the letters T.B., the initials of Taylor Bark, and lastly Amy being the worm, creating A.W., the initials for Amy Walker. That is the end of the game, but that is not the end of the story. Looking through the files in the folder titled DH Story, we finally have all of the passwords we need to access the files. The first file we gain access to is the backstory of Deprived Hedgehog. So there was a boy named Junio who wanted to relive his childhood by playing some Sonic 3 and Knuckles. As he did though, Sonic seemed to turn into a bit of a monster. The monster then leaped out of the screen per se and grabbed Junio's soul, bringing it into the game, creating the being known as the Deprived Hedgehog, or as we've been calling him the whole time, the little cutie. Outside of the game, Junio's mother was battling all sorts of ailments, lung cancer, deterioration, even a heart attack. Amazingly, she'd survived all 3 of these afflictions, but it was Junio, possessed by the demonic Sonic, that made him stab his own mother to death. He did this so that the Deprived Hedgehog could become the perfect puppet. Junio then allowed himself to get entirely sucked into the game, using the 7 Chaos Emeralds to create a world of his delusional desires, creating a place of morbid entertainment. Moving on to the next hidden file is heislying.txt. This states that what John said in the YouTube video is apparently a lie. He was never a lead designer, it seems he broke into Sega's security system and extracted the monster. Next is question.txt, which seems to include protocols from Sega on how to deal with the monster. Next is an HTML file called "You Are Lucky to Find Me." This leads to a picture made from what I can only imagine is hexadecimal code of the demonic Sonic. I don't know if there's any secret in this, and if there is, let me know in the comments below. Going through our last folder titled Sega Secret Operations, and using the initials of the 3 named people as passwords, we get more information as well. The first document shows that on July 2019, a virus was discovered that they tried to delete. In a matter of a few days, they thought they deleted it, but it just came back and spread like wildfire. In the second attempt, we see that the virus was then transferred somewhere else, creating this strange text document that just says kill and murder. We then have another text document of a married couple who really seem to hate each other. The husband has a problem that she didn't take his name, and the wife admits to cheating on him and being pregnant with that child. So that's fun, I guess. We then learn from the voicemail that this dude and his wife were hired by Sega to eradicate what is known as the Sega Secret Operation, and if they do, they'll be paid 1,500 smackaroos. He's hoping this will save the relationship, but like, with inflation nowadays? No, not that kind. Now, going into the third attempt, we have the final text file of the game. This is literally lore dump the file. The monster reveals that he burrowed into the hidden source code before John could smash the hard drive. He lay dormant until 2019 when Sega discovered him and tried to eradicate him. Their attempts were unsuccessful, causing the death of the married couple from earlier, Kenton Esther and Taylor Bark. When Sonic Origins was released, the monster was given a gateway to the players to try and escape once more. The monster found Junio, and the rest is history. Oh, and just to tie up the last loose end, Amy Walker is Junio's mother's name. With all of that, that is Deprived Hedgehog 1994. Out of the 5 games that we looked at today, this was definitely the best and most well-crafted one. Having the game access my webcam, send me messages and breadcrumbs through different websites, playing sounds over my speakers, printing out pictures, this game did it all to really feel like an experience. Is the pixel art and animation great? No, Project X definitely takes that award this time, but everything this game does on a technical level is amazing. The story itself is also the best out of the 5 games we played today. Sure, it has that teenage indie dev edge that you would expect out of an EXE game, but having the story unfold through the game, videos, and a hidden file really created an immersive experience. I would love to see what else this developer could do. So did Sonic.exe games get better? Of course they did. Back in the day when I first played Sonic.exe Fangames, it was nothing but running and jump scares and that's it. Nowadays, Sonic.exe Fangames are full immersive experiences where the fourth wall is so demolished I don't think it existed in the first place. I am such a sucker for things like this, and I would 100% recommend playing all of these games for yourselves. Links to the games are in the description below. What did you guys think? Should I look at more fan games and give them the review treatment? Suggest them to me and maybe I'll give them the same treatment I gave these. Especially suggest games if you made them. I love showcasing indie devs. If you want to truly support this channel, like, comment, and subscribe to see more stuff like this, and hit that bell. To really help us out, hit that join button to become a channel member and get shoutouts in every video like Andrew's Retro Games, and also get these videos earlier than anyone else. We also have merch in the description like shirts, mugs, and stickers. Every cent helps us bring bigger and better content to you. This week we will be playing Spider-Man 2, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and Sonic Superstars on stream, so if you want to talk with me live, join us there. Also on Friday, we will be reviewing Super Kirby Clash as a part of our Kirby retrospective. With that, I'm Bottles, and I bid you, my well-esteemed ghouls, adieu.